How's it going, guys? It's Nathan from Nathan's DIY Garage, and today we're working on this 528 steel. This is the one with the tapping noise. You guys remember the last two videos of this channel were on this. We went and replaced the lifters. It seemed like maybe it's a little better just for a second, then it wasn't. We went ahead and today replaced the whole entire vanos unit. That made no difference. It taps pretty loud. Our fan shroud is busted, and this car, as you probably saw in the last videos, you can see how much it's moving around the engine. The motor mounts are totally gone, so what that does, it makes the fan hit the shroud. So he had the old shroud right here, right? And he had it kind of all cut out so it would clear it, but there's nothing to hold the coolant bottle anymore. So we have a new shroud to put back on it, and I dropped the shroud in, went to put the fan on. He has a brand new fan, and it's hitting the shroud because the engine, you can't really see it probably on the camera. The engine is actually cocked up on the driver's side, and it's making it hit. The engine mounts are so bad on this thing. There's literally nothing holding together. This thing is a stick, and that's probably why. So we have two possibilities for the loud knocking sound. I'm going to start up here just a minute. It's been running quite a bit. I drove it yesterday. I drove it just with the shroud only on it, without the fan on it. Just drove around the block. And the sound kind of came and went. It's really weird. It never gets louder, never gets quieter, but it is loud. So what's going on right now, we're pretty sure what's happened, since this is a manual, this has the two-piece flywheel. And at this point, we're pretty certain that it is something with the bearing on that two-piece flywheel. The knocking sound is faster than a rod would be. The oil is pumping good. We have verified that whatever condensation was in the valve cover is from the CCV. When I took the CCV hose off, it was full of condensation, full of water basically. So we deleted that. We just have a open hose for right now. He's gonna put a catch can on it. I guess once he figures out it's worth putting a catch can on it. So at this point in time, I think what we're gonna do, I'll go and start up for you guys. Then I'm going to put the fan back on it, put the airbox back on it, and we'll take on a little bit longer drive. There's three different possibilities. If it is something at the lower end, it's going to come apart. So when we take it out for a drive, either one of the three things is going to happen. It's going to come apart. It's going to punch a hole through the side of the block, if it is that. The second thing is going to happen is nothing. We come back here and it's making the same noise, the same loudness. And the third option is it's just going to stop. The guys that said they had the problem with the bearings in the clutch or the flywheel, they said it would randomly just stop making the noise. This started after he started it up, which makes me a little bit, lean towards the possibility he could have spun a rod bearing. I've never seen an M54 M52tu ever spin a rod bearing, ever. Even when we're out of oil, they haven't done that. I've seen them get so hot that, it's actually started melting and warping stuff on the plastic on the front of the engine from being overheated. That didn't affect the lower end. So the only thing that does scare me a little bit about this, we did find the piece of bolt in the vanos, and that's why I changed the whole unit today, just to make sure that didn't cause some kind of damage or there's nothing else in the vanos. Like I said, it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. Okay, so here it is idling. I'm staying away from it a little bit. It is really difficult to tell on the audio. It's probably a lot louder in person than what it is on the audio. So you hear it now. It sounds like, I don't know, it's too fast for a rod. When you rev it up, it's obviously way too fast to be a rod. When you rev it up, it sounds like something hitting a gear. It clicks for about every 2 revolutions for one evolution of the engine. It'll click twice or even 3 times. So here it is running with the fan shroud. We're going to go ahead and just take it for a drive. It's actually getting quieter now than it ever has been before. When I remove the oil cap, it's quiet inside the engine. So you can tell when you come back here, further, it kind of sounds like it's further back in the bell housing. It's ultra hard to tell. When you let the clutch out or push the clutch in, it seems like it does not make any difference. So we're thinking it's that flywheel, or it could even be something in the bell housing hitting. This thing's already had all the front covers off of it, you know, all the cams out. It's none of that at all. Okay, so here we are. We just drove it a good 10-15 minutes, and it started bogging out real bad. So I went in and pulled the airbox back out and was looking where he has this thing taped up, and it's all hanging open. So I'm guessing that's why we were bogging out. As of right now, let's see here. Yeah, no check engine light. It is running rough. It is probably to do with the intake boot. I did notice when I was filling up the coolant that the secondary water pump does not work. When you turn the heater on, it was not pumping through the little hose right here at the end of the bottle, so you can't really fill the system right. It didn't overheat. I mean, it made good power for it started to bog. I'm not sure. It never got any worse. I could tell it has a idler pulley making a little bit of a noise over here, possibly alternator, but that's nothing to do with drivability. So I'm not sure what to do with this thing. It's getting to have a lot of time in it. I know the owner's getting frustrated with it pretty bad. He has a lot of time and money he put in it before it even got to me. I took it apart a couple times. You know, I don't know. I got to charge him something for doing it. I'm not exactly sure how to go about this. I hate when I can't fix something. I'm not going to put a clutch in it if that is what it is. I don't have time to do that, basically. And a clutch for this thing is expensive. It has that two-piece clutch. To do the upgrade, you got to get the new flywheel with the clutch plate, the whole clutch kit. And like the minimum on that's $400 just off eBay. You know, most of them are even $500 and up. So I'm not sure. This car, it's just getting to the point where it's just not worth it anymore. You know, let's see what he wants to do, and he needs a couple other things down here that need to be done, and you know, with the motor mounts need to be done. I could tell it's got some play in the guibo bushing. The drive shaft carrier has a little bit of vibration and stuff like that. So this is the E46 I drug home from Tennessee, and this guy did the head gasket himself. It's been a little while since he did it. He thought he had the timing wrong. He actually had the timing right. No problems with that at all. It does need an oil change. He hasn't changed the oil since he did the head on it, so it's a little bit milky. The problem ended up being, for the no start or start and die problem, was his mass airflow. I switched that out with the OEM one I had here, and it started right up. The only thing that's weird about that, it still has the air code for the mass airflow, but it's like it runs all right. It's got a little bit of a rough idle to it. Randomly, it throws a code for the exhaust crankshaft sensor, camshaft sensor, my bad. He put a China one in it. We'll probably just go and put this OEM one back in it. He said before there was no problem with check engine light. He just replaced it just to maybe thinking that was why it wouldn't start. I don't know. And other than that, you know, go look and some stuff under the intake and make sure there's no vacuum leak. We're going to do a CCV delete on it, change the oil for him, put all his little trim stuff back in, and maybe run through the car wash for him and spray it off and just kind of tidy everything up. He's got a little bit of a sunroof issue going on. The sunroof stopped working. It doesn't leak. It's up a little bit in the back. So we're going to try to manually run that in. He said he tried that. Didn't work. So look at that. Maybe get the scanner on this thing and look into his gas gauge. He said it was having a problem not going all the way down to empty. Once it got to halfway, it would stop. So we'll probably get that cleared up for him, or at least send in the right direction on that. And that's it, guys. I want to give you an update. I haven't put a video up in a couple days. Thought I better get my butt on it and show you what's going on. But in my mind, showing you that 528's boring. You guys let me know right away it was not. Also, we have the other silver 528 sitting here. This was Sylvester's car, the guy we traded the 318 to. This is when we did the solenoids in the transmission, and that fixed that. And it started kind of bogging a little bit. Every other time he started, it would act like it wasn't getting fuel, and he'd spray it and it'd come alive. No codes or nothing like that. So I think we're going to go and do a fuel pump. We have seen this before in the other E46 and the 323, and we end up having to replace the pump in it. It's like I don't know. I guess it's getting crap in it from sitting around, maybe getting a little rusty, and didn't want to start up all the time, and that's what the problem was. So that's it for today's video, guys. It's starting to get dark outside, so tomorrow's gonna be a new day of trying to get all this stuff running and trying to give everything a second chance at life here. You know, most of these cars would definitely be in the scrapyard for parts if we didn't get them going. So we're gonna try to get Kevin's 528 and that knocking noise figured out. Running out of ideas on it. We're down to putting the clutch in it, I believe. So we'll call him, talk to him about that, and see what he says. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll have another one up tomorrow.